key issues, but we are our climate change action plan is now actually going out for consultation and community input, so there will be time to certainly discuss that. And Ngāti Pawa Trust Board, re the Hanua Rangers, again we just thought that the issue that they wanted to discuss wasn't urgent enough to require discussion at this committee. My recollection is it was in relation to kauri dieback, and we thought better to ask Ngāti Pawa to come in and speak to us when we're dealing with kauri dieback in the new year. So just to let people know that. Right, public input starts, and usually we have about 30 minutes for public input. I suspect we might be a little bit longer, but we'll try and make the most of this awesome opportunity. So welcome Iris on behalf of Kia Tairi Kiwi and the Climate Change Program. Warm welcome.
Thank you. Good morning everybody, my name is Iris Donoghue. I'm the chair of Keep Auckland Beautiful. As most of you might know, I've been involved with the Tagout and a number of other trusts over the years, but my current passion is Bia Tairi Kiwi. And as Keep Auckland Beautiful, we are now a member of a group called the Auckland Litter Steering Project, and we have partnered with Auckland Council Waste and Parks, Kiwi Rail and NZTA via the AMA. Our presentation here is really short, and I would like to introduce our project manager, Richard Leckinger. So a very short presentation and a couple of questions from us. Thank you.
Welcome, Richard. Lovely to see you.
Ngā mihi nui. Thank you so much for seeing us. And first of all, a very warm welcome to Auckland Council, a warm thank you to Auckland Council, and in particular Waste Solutions, because they are the anchor funding for Bia Tairi Kiwi and the Auckland Litter Prevention Steering Group. A couple of years ago, we rebranded Bia Tairi Kiwi. We talked to 16,000 kids nationwide, a couple thousand adults. We let the children drive it, and that is the new Tairi Kiwi logo. But bringing it back to Auckland, the Auckland Litter Prevention Steering Group, as Iris said, is Council, Waste Solutions and Parks, New Zealand Transport Agency, Kiwi Rail, and of course us. Our vision, a litter-free Auckland, surprise. Our main task, given to us by Len Brown actually, was to get the major asset holders all on the same page with regard to litter. That is our job. And the aim is to reduce litter and illegal dumping in Auckland. No surprise there. Three main ways we work. The carrot is we've rebranded Bia Tairi Kiwi. It's inclusive, it's educational, it's warm, it's fuzzy. It sends the right message. The stick is enforcement. And regional enforcement has just come back online in the last couple of years in council. That's great. How do we measure success? We use the Clean Communities Assessment Tool, otherwise known as CCAT, because it measures more than just the litter on the ground. We work with enforcement. They now sit at the Auckland Litter Prevention Steering Group table, which is fabulous. We've built bridges into Housing New Zealand. They come to our meetings and then they change personnel and we lose them, but we really would love to have Auckland Transport and Housing New Zealand back at our table on a regular basis. These are the 80 plus, it's about 97 sites you're looking at on there across Auckland that we survey every year with our Clean Communities Assessment Tool. And we have 3 years worth of data. The report that's hiding in your bag is just for when you're having trouble sleeping. You didn't have to read it for today's meeting, but it is a summary of what we found because we've been doing this for 3 years now. Why do we choose CCAT? It's because people litter in response to social and environmental cues in the time and place they're at. Nobody gets up in the morning and says, I'm going to litter today. There is no conspiracy theory. So we do count litter. That's mandatory. But we also, graffiti affects litter. So we measure graffiti. We ask the public in the place that they're at about their attitudes. How do they feel about it? We also survey the infrastructure, the benches, the furniture, the bollards, the sidewalks, and we also assess the binfrastructure. How easy are the bins to use? Are the right bins? Are they the right colors? Yada, yada, yada. Are they overflowing? We get all kinds of scores from that. You'll see that in the report. I don't have time to get into the details of that, but we've got a lot of qualitative and quantitative data, and we've got a time series of it. So we can actually sit down with local boards and with councillors and say, actually, here's where things are falling down from an infrastructure basis, and that's why we have more litter. because this isn't being attended to in this type of area. Bus stops are very well cared for, but AT furniture that's not at a bus stop is not. There's just an example of something that we've learned from our data. If it ain't at a bus stop, AT doesn't look after it. Why? Don't know. Littering rates. We also secretly observe people littering. And our baseline rate from 2015 and 2016 is 38% of the people we observe we saw disposing improperly. And that could be leaving something behind at a picnic table. It could be literally throwing it on the ground. It could be throwing a cigarette butt. The upside of that, of course, is proper disposal. If somebody packs up their takeaways and takes it to the car, that's a proper disposal. In 2015-16, 38%. This year's, after our 95 CCATs this year, it's 29%. It is improving. Don't know exactly why. It could be because Tidy Kiwi's back out there. It could be because Waste Solutions is doing heaps of education. It's probably all of the above. Tidy Kiwi is a national brand, as you may know. Now, through the Ministry for the Environment's waste levy funding, Be a Tidy Kiwi has partnered with the Packaging Forum to promote the BATK brand and the Love New Zealand brand nationwide. And starting this weekend and throughout the summer, we'll be asking New Zealanders to take the Be a Tidy Kiwi pledge and share it with their friends and family. And this is a huge television campaign. It kicks off at Coca-Cola in the Park on Saturday. And I'm here to ask each and every one of you to do the selfie pledge with your cell phone, get your staff to upload it to your social media, and take the Tidy Kiwi pledge, please wearing the badge that is in your bag. This is the TVC. It's 1 minute long, and it didn't start, but Maya's going to save me.
I just want to keep Aotearoa beautiful! Let's band together.
You, me, and the whole of Aotearoa.
We're recording?
Yeah.
I'm a Tidy Kiwi.
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 We're Tidy Kiwi.
We're all tidy Kiwi.
I'm a tidy Kiwi and promise to put litter in its place.
I'm a tidy Kiwi. Promise to put litter in its place.
We're Tidy Kiwi.
I promise to put litter in its place.
I'm a tidy Kiwi and I promise to put litter in its place.
We're in. Are we? Yeah.
It's just how we do things around here.
I'm in.
I'm in.
I'm in.
I'm in.
We're in.
We're in.
I'm in.
I'm in.
Band together.
Band together.
Band together, New Zealand.
Because we're Kiwis. We're not Australians.
This is gonna be awesome.
Are you?
I'm very pleased to hear the laughter from behind me because that's the first time this has been shown in public. So thanks for that. And to all the elected officials, you can see the gauntlet has been thrown by mayors from around the country. Hint, hint, councillors of Auckland, we'd love to see your pledges. Basically, I think I've gone all the way to the beginning. I may only have one more slide. And, basically, opportunities for Auckland Council, very quickly. You can leverage Be a Tidy Kiwi on bins. In the 70s, Be a Tidy Kiwi was on every bin in the country, and it worked. It could also go on other park signage. We're getting a bit of resistance to that in Auckland Council, so we'd love your help with that. You can leverage BATK in your educational programs through Waste Solutions and your EnviroSchool stuff. Tidy Kiwi events, and of course, we have Tidy Kiwi signage going up near illegal dumping hotspots across Franklin, Papakura, and Manurewa starting in a couple of weeks. And that's a trial. We're going to see how it works and see if we can move the needle on illegal dumping as well as littering. And that is my gallop. Thank you.
Richard, that's fantastic. I think I'll
So
be
can I just
asking-
close, if I may, just with a couple of requests,
You
Madam
can.
Chair?
I just was going to give the elected members time to think that in the lunch break we will do a little recording, a social media recording, and we will take the pledge collectively. So we'll get that up ASAP.
The website goes live on Sunday, so it can go up next
Marvellous.
Monday.
We'll put it out. Iris.
Thank you, Penny. We'd like to thank you for your time and interest in the project. And although we are aware that there's no financial commitment that can be made, we would like to request that the Environment and Community Committee endorse Auckland Council's use of the Be a Tidy Kiwi logo and messaging where appropriate to foster better disposal behaviour, and where possible to assist us in gaining the support of both Auckland Transport and Housing New Zealand to become a part of this regional project. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your interest.
Lovely. Thank you. It's always good to have an action out of this. So we've probably got time for a couple of questions. It doesn't feel like it needs a huge amount of questioning. I've got Councillor Stewart and Councillor Filipaina.
Oh, thank you for that. That was a wonderful presentation, and I'm looking forward to that being all around the region. But apparently, I think Auckland Transport and Community Facilities have been thinking about taking away the rubbish bins from the parks and around bus stops and places like that. What would you? I'd just like you to make a comment on that. What do you think would happen if that happened?
I'm so glad you asked, because I definitely have an opinion on this.
Good.
So this is my opinion. If you have a discrete entrance and exit to a place like a regional park, and you put massive signage up that says carry in, carry out policy in effect, and you put bins at the exit as they're going out, people will do the right thing and not trash your park. If you have 1,000 ways to get to a beach or a public place, and they never see that signage, you pull the bins out, it will be trashed. And I do have evidence of that happening.
Thank you.
And so my recommendation is there are places where pulling out the bins and doing a carry-out policy is effective, but they're few and far between.
Okay.
Thank you.
Right. Councillor Filipaina.
Yeah, just a very quick
Question?
question to you, Richard. Have you done, or Be a Tidy Kiwi done an evaluation around how many people still sort of remember Be a Tidy Kiwi? I'm at an age
Yes,
that I do.
we both are, just to be fair.
So I'm really interested in regards to the comms and everything else.
When we did our big brand review, and this is a couple of years ago, we came to learn that there are 1 million Kiwis who've never even heard the phrase Be a Tidy Kiwi, don't recognize it. Now, 2/3 of those were born and bred here, and 1/3 of them are recent immigrants, because nothing's been done with this brand since 1988. So we've basically just revived, taken it off life support.
Okay, thank you. And also acknowledge you, Iris.
Thank you.
Yeah. Councillor, I've got Councillor Simpson, Councillor Clough,
I'll
Councillor
leave mine.
Casey, Member Blair.
I was going to ask the same one as Sharon, so.
Okay, good, done. Councillor Clough.
I just want to record a conflict of interest because I'm on the board of Keep Auckland Beautiful with Iris and Richard, so I just want to declare a conflict. Thank you.
Noted, we will note that. Councillor Casey.
Oh, kids will love this, Richard. Thank you for coming today. My question relates to fast food, in particular McDonald's, KFC and the usual suspects. There's no mention in your report of fast food being a major contributor to our littering.
It is. We don't do a branded litter survey. We just count what's there, and we count everything. What I can say is in 15 days from now, the Packaging Forum will release a branded litter survey. And they're going to name and shame even some of their own members, because, yeah, fast food dominates those lists. And there's no change to their 2010 branded litter audit that they never released, which is why they're releasing this one.
Great to hear.
Okay. And just before I go to Member Blair, because we can't pass recommendations from public forum, we will note the opportunities that you've presented for council, and we will make those more formal at our next waste item, which I think seems like a way of
Thank you.
ensuring that you know that we're taking that seriously. Member Blair.
Kia ora kōrua. Iris, Richard, thank you for your amazing passion. He tangata whakapaipai aho, so I'm a Tairi Kiwi. I want to be a Tairi Kiwi. And just want to encourage you to go to Okahu Bay where we don't have any bins, but we've got signage and we've got people there asking people to take their litter home. If they don't have a bag, they get issued a bag. So it's quite a hands-on approach. And sometimes when it's after hours, people come along and they litter and things like that. But that's the approach that we've taken, and we're happy to promote your brand at our iwi if you want to contact me to see how we do it.
Excellent.
And also at the marae where we are parakore, which is zero waste, so separating waste and things like that. So happy to integrate it into. So thank you, Madam Chair.
Awesome. Thank you, Member Blair, and thank you for the offer of discussion around bilingual signage for this campaign, which I think in certain areas would be appreciated. Okay, I will ask perhaps Councillor Stewart and Councillor Simpson to move the vote of thanks to Iris, and you happy with that? Yep, I'll put that. All those in favour, please say aye.
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 Against, carried. Thank you, Iris and Richard, and again, thank you for your extraordinary work in this area.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Have a
Watch
lovely
out.
Christmas.
Watch out for our little clip coming your way, and we
Okay.
will proudly be wearing our badges. Thank you.
Thank you.
So our next two pieces of public input relate to Ponsonby Park, and I just want to acknowledge our Waitemata local board who are here. Warm welcome, Waitemata local board. You must be feeling pretty good about this, I hope. So, Keith and team,
G'day.
introduce yourselves, and the next 5 minutes is all yours.
Thank you. I'm Keith Madison. I'm effectively the secretary of the Ponsonby Park Communications Group. I'd like to actually pass this over to Chris, who's the chair of our group, and he'll run through our presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm Jennifer Ward, a member of the Community-Led Design Group.
Andy Smith, member of the Community-Led Design Group.
Welcome.
And Chris Bailey. Good morning, Madam Chair. Talofa, Deputy Chair, and kia ora, members of the Environment and Community Committee. Thank you for the opportunity to speak in support of the whole of site civic space at 254 Ponsonby Road, lovingly known by us as Ponsonby Park. Ko Chris Bailey aho. I'm the chair of the Community-Led Design Group that's been involved in this project. Ponsonby is iconic, diverse and urban. Our vision for the whole of site civic space at 254 Ponsonby Road involves the contemporary values of democracy, inclusiveness and sustainability. As a brief history, a Boffa-Miskell report in 2000 confirmed that the wider Ponsonby area was undersupplied with public amenity space. In 2006, the land at 254 Ponsonby Road was purchased. Since then, Waitemata has become one of the fastest growing areas in Auckland, with the population increasing by 6.7%. In July 2013, the Waitemata Local Board released the draft Ponsonby Road Master Plan that included the civic space at 254 Ponsonby Road. In a 2014 petition requesting a whole of site civic space, sorry, I've lost my place there. In 2014, a petition requesting a whole of site civic space was presented to the board, and the site was decoupled from the master plan and a site-specific consultation was held. 77% of the 698 respondents to this consultation chose the whole of site civic space option. In March 2016, the project was devolved to the community by the board with a brief to develop a design concept with an indicative budget for a whole of site civic space using community-led design principles. So we got down to work. Firstly, determining what such a process might be like in our context, and secondly, how to best and effectively engage with a diverse local as well as the wider community. We created a comprehensive communication strategy which enabled us to reach and update people and receive feedback on a routine basis, and included email, social media, a website, letterbox drops, in-person events, hosting information sessions and regular updates via local media publications. We then conducted a series of needs-based consultation cycles, and the responses to these informed the creation of a design brief, which was taken up by 11 designers, all working pro bono. In 2017, we held a final consultation that included a physical exhibition as well as an online virtual exhibition. All of the submitted designs were presented online as well, and a clear majority of the 1,208 respondents chose the LandLab design. In May of 2017, we formally presented the LandLab design with an indicative budget to the Waitemata Local Board. In December of 2017, the whole of site project was included in the Auckland 10-year long-term plan. This received strong support from 60% of the local residents who responded to the long-term plan consultation. In November this year, council officers presented their report to the board and recommended the development of the whole site, 2,326 square metres, as a civic space with no associated disposal as the preferred option. We're also delighted to report that in November the LandLab design won the International World Architecture News Future Civic Category Award and additionally shortlisted in the prestigious World Architecture Festival in the Future Civic category. Council has, over the past several years, engaged with the community and presented the whole of site development as an option, and it is this option the community has consistently selected. In 2014, 1,243 people, including 43 local businesses, signed the initial petition, and in 2016, 1,208 people responded to our final community-led design consultation. The community has shown a significant and sustained engagement for the whole of site civic space outcome. And why wouldn't they when it has so much to offer? It'll protect our harbours by mitigating stormwater runoff, be an exemplar for sustainable development by sensitively and adaptively reusing the existing structures on the site, and will include a rain garden, green walls and green roof. It'll encourage biodiversity and be a green lung for a busy Ponsonby Road. It'll provide an educational food forest accessible for everyone, be a major connector and contributor to the Pollinator Pathway network, reduce the impacts of climate change by providing shade and carbon sequestration. It'll also be a place to build social capital, a place for Matariki, Diwali and other cultural celebrations and festivals, a meeting place for people attending the Christmas lights, and a place for the choir of St John's Samoan Church opposite to Rejoice. It'll be a place to be married, learn to ride a bike, rest and relax or be energised and entertained. It will be a place for our hospitality and retail workers to enjoy a break or have their lunch. A tourist destination that will stimulate and support the local business community. A place for a farmer's market. It will be a place for diversity and inclusion where everyone is welcome and will buzz with the sound of people. In short, it will be an urban oasis, good for people, good for the environment and good for Auckland. On behalf of the community, we respectfully request that the Environment and Community Committee support a whole of site civic space at 254 Ponsonby Road with no prerequisite land sale. Ngā mihi, and thank you.
Well done. Kia ora, thank you. I think that probably speaks for itself. I think you've read the report and you see the recommendations. We'll be hearing from the Waitemata Local Board next. So you're warmly welcome to stay for the discussion, and I hope you're pleased with the outcome.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Second.
Moved Councillor, hang on, I'll just get it the right way around. Moved Councillor Simpson, seconded Councillor Fletcher. I'll put that. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Against? Carried. Right, and now to add to this is the wonderful Boopsie Moran. Warm welcome, Boopsie.
Tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa. Ko Boopsie aho, no te Waitemata aho. Good morning, councillors and staff. Thank you for allowing me to speak today. I am checking if this is on. Yes, okay. And thank you for letting me speak. I have lived and worked in Ponsonby for 13 years, and more recently, I have studied my Master's of Teaching Primary with honors at Auckland University. It was in my last placement in West Auckland where a lot of the students became aware of my passion for this project and its meaning to myself and my community. So one of the grandmothers at my West Auckland school came up to me and said, I lived in Ponsonby 40 years ago. So I asked her if she could mind sharing with me what life was like when she lived in Ponsonby. And after school one day, she gave me this letter. Beautiful Ponsonby is a very good place to live, very close to church and everything in walking distance. Most of Polynesian get on with others, no trouble among each other, everything close to home, and nothing to complain about it. And all of a sudden, everything raised up. Rent, mortgages, and rates, food cost of everything gone up. That's why some Polynesians moved out from Ponsonby. The mana of the land, past and present, carries through future generations. And these values that run deep and are true to the Ponsonby area can live on in these spaces. If we do the right thing with this site, people from all wards who are connected to this area will have a place that belongs to them, that they will always be welcome in. This park represents that we still care about the people. Mortgages will rise, shops will come and go, but there is a place they can come to. They don't have to buy a coffee to be there. They might run into an old friend, and they can stay as long as they like. This is a photo of 254 Ponsonby Road today, standing in a site which Council has purchased and designated as a public open space and civic square. Today is a Liquor King. However, all we see the community see when we look at this parking lot for cars and booze is potential. We see a girl laughing and doing the Siva Samoa. We see gold card holding seniors practicing Tai Chi on a Wednesday morning, teenagers sharing stories before dinner, moms doing push-ups in an early morning boot camp, and fathers picking mint in a community plot with their children. It is this unlimited potential for people to be outdoors and connected. This is what the community sees and hopes for in this space. We want to create more spaces where all walks of life feel welcome, improve their well-being, and can encounter joy, just as my student's Nana was able to do 40 years ago. All around Auckland, we the community have already begun to invest our time and energy creating our own community spaces utilizing tactical urbanism. Things like kids jumping rope, playing tug-of-war, or this German tourist who finally had a free place to feed their baby, or simply recognizing the potential of this blank wall and transforming it into public art that makes everybody feel welcome. It is these improvements to our gathering spaces that make the people of this city feel connected, positive, and healthy. And it is the responsibility of the broader City Council to support these efforts and provide us the space to do so. We want to leave you with this. E hara taku toa, I te toa, takitahi, e nari, he toa takimano. Success is not the work of one, but the work of many. He patai wa koto. Are there any questions?
Beautiful, thank you, Boopsy. I think you've captured the spirit of that place so well. I probably, again, like Keith and the team's presentation, I think you've said it all, and I guess the questions will come as we get to the item. So thank you. Who would like to move the thanks for Boopsy? Thank you very much. Councillor Josephine, and seconded Councillor Richard.
Thank you for listening, and tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa.
Ora koutou. Thank you. All those in favour say yay.
Aye.
Yay. Well done. Thank you. Moving on to our next item, or our next item for public input is Pete Townend from to speak on our, or to make comment on the sediment item. Welcome, Pete.
Hello. Hi.
I made contact with Pete just to be clear that this isn't a discussion on a specific area. This is the regional discussion and his input into the sediment item. Thanks, Pete. Warm welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for allowing us to address this committee on behalf of Keep Okura Green. We recognise the large volume of work that the council staff and committee have put into producing this document, and would like to commend you all on the effort so far. the protecting of the aquatic environment from sediment discharge, which really does require prompt and effective action. We believe the major and effective ingredient missing in the report is the control of sediment consented to leave site. If we could stop the issuing of consents with no limits on the maximum weight of sediment discharge, we believe it would be a very positive outcome. This approach is currently being followed in some existing consents. It just needs to be rolled out and enforced on all new sites. Electronic monitoring equipment is now affordable and reusable, and on large sites it should be mandatory in the consent condition. Sites too small for electronic monitoring should have a clear water discharge rule added that is easy for all players to understand and can be quantified using ANZAC guidelines, which as of this year have New Zealand guideline values for suspended solids as well as turbidity for rivers and estuaries. The raising of the bar of new consents, one would hope, will make existing consent holders that are currently allowed to discharge unlimited quantities of sediment be seen to be below par in their practices, and peer and public and council pressure will be seen, will see them lifting their standards appropriately or accordingly. Lastly, like the health and safety processes, everyone on site is responsible for safety of a site. It must report or rectify safety concerns. The same approach could be adopted by all council staff and indeed developers' staff on visiting a site. So they must report any discharge of sediment or issue relating to it to the appropriate authority immediately, and it should be rectified by the developers team. This could be expanded to educate all other council staff on other business in the vicinity to be able to identify a problem and react appropriately. If the following ideas could be implemented, with of course improvement in detail by council officers, then we believe we would see an immediate and enduring reduction in the sediment discharges into the Hauraki Gulf. This committee has been the first to take up the challenge. We applaud its effort and that of the council staff in bringing all this work together. We have pointed out the steps that we see that will bring fast, positive change and asked to be kept informed and consulted as this effort moves forward. And once again, we thank you all for being allowed to address you.
Thank you. That's a very useful input, and just acknowledging that we've got our staff who are going to be speaking to the item. We'll be listening to that, and we'll pick up the points that you raised during the item. And I had expected a question from Councillor Watson and a question from Councillor Walker, and then we'll...
quick question.
No, hang on. Councillor Watson was first. Councillor Walker.
Yeah, thanks, Pete. Just a very quick and straightforward question. So, you're of the view that these adaptive management plans that have these threshold or trigger levels in the receiving environment and in the sediment ponds, they work, and you see immediate improvements on the ground in these sites that are currently under these management regimes?
The case in point, this particular one, which was at Scott Point, from what we understand, there were multiple developers in the area responsible for reacting to this adaptation management plan. One of them was particularly concerned and wanted to do the right job, and so for about a year and a half did a very good job at controlling sediment, but his neighbours did nothing, and this is why I sort of wanted to really emphasise that enforcement thing. While this developer was concerned and doing a great job, and the ecological team dealing with him was very impressed with what was coming off the site, the neighbours were making no effort at all. And so eventually that particular developer gave up and said, it's not worth my while, is what we've heard on the grapevine. So the system's there, system works. There's no problems with controlling sediment, but it does require a considered effort by the developer and the enforcement team to be fully aware of the responsibilities under the adaptive management plan to make it happen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. And Councillor Walker.
Sure. So, just following on from that, Pete, you've read the agenda item, so I'm suggesting that what you want to see is some prioritisation, and where there are mechanisms such as the one that you've indicated, we try and bring those forward. Definitely.
There's no doubt, I've spent my life living and working around this area on the water, and that's not just my local area, it's further afield. And even as recently as 2 weeks ago, we're seeing issues which are almost certainly sediment related. And certainly council, government, everybody's identified sediment as a major issue, and yet we still see it spilling out from development sites. And so the fix is quite easy. It's monitor it, put some levels on it, and enforce it. And it's legally allowed to do now because it's already been done now. So it's just a bit of a change of focus from the officers, I think, in the way that's handled. Yep.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, and thank you for your input. And again, we'll get to the item shortly, and I'm sure it will be of interest to you, and we'll keep talking.
All right, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Cheers.
John and Wayne, would you like to move the
Happy. Sure.
recommendation? Moved Councillor Watson, second Councillor Walker. I'll put that. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Carried. That's wonderful. Thank you. And just acknowledging the big team who've come from your area, Pete, to support you.